Well, hey everybody, Backyard Scrapping here. Real quick, I just wanted to show you that we actually have got M's Refined started in all of these containers up here on the little burner plate, and these three down here are all the different pins. Probably not totally necessary that I do it that way, but I prefer it. I just seem to run into less problems. These have actually been on a couple days. I just haven't had a chance to get out and get a video made. And also out in that junk table under that brick under there is the fingers and stuff like that. That's all stuff that still has to be processed in there. But anyhow, I just wanted to show you that we do have this going. I am seeing some foils starting to come loose, but I do have to tell you, I don't know if you can see it in there, but there's some foils floating on top already. I think I'm going to have to reevaluate the computer material that I am accepting. So I am going to put a more specific list on the website, on the refining page, and I'm going to start being a lot more specific about the computer scrap that I take. Now, as far as jewelry or items that I can process, in a few days, that's fine. I'll do that. For all the effort and time that is going into them, these modern pins are not yielding, nothing like the old pins. You just saw with that batch of Steve's, I mean, we should have got 0.2, we should have got at least 0.2 grams of gold out of that, and we didn't even get 1/4 of that. So, and I rechecked and rechecked and rechecked. So, and I still ended up sending him 0.2 of a gram of gold, even though he only got 0.05, because I expected to get that, and just in case I did do something wrong, I was going to be fair about it. But I can't keep doing that. And I've done several small batches, made videos, which I greatly appreciate you guys letting me make videos out of your material. But I can't just keep making videos and not keeping some of the gold. And I've done several now that I have not, because the batch is yielded so small because it's newer material. I mean, I just haven't been keeping anything, and I can't do it for free anymore. I just can't do that. It's just too expensive to buy these materials and run my fans and run my hot plates and run all that. I hope you guys understand that. Like I said, I'm going to put I'll put it on the website what I'm going to take. But I'm going to have to only just go strictly into refining and not processing at all. Now, silver contacts, things like that, I can still take all that because we're still looking at, just basic processing, basic refining. Same thing with jewelry scrap, sweeps, bench sweeps, anything like that, from jeweler's equipment. I can still take that stuff because, again, it's just processing. I will do fingers, like ram fingers, like we got going out on the junk table out there. I'm not going to take boards. I will also stipulate on that page how I will accept. I will only take cut or trimmed fingers from slot cards or ram cards, or any other type of fingers. But I'm not going to accept boards. I don't want anybody don't send me boards with, lead on them or solder on them or anything else. I'm not going to do that stuff anymore. Like I said, I'm running so far behind I can't even process my own material just because of pins. So anyhow, guys, I'll keep you up to date on this. We'll see what we end up just out of these pins. I'm going to keep it separate from her other materials. So we'll be back at you guys in a few seconds, or a second, or a blink of an eye. Okay, everybody, I'm just checking in with you on M's project. I've had this stuff setting for several days now, just at a low heat, just to try and break through the surface of some of this plating. We are now going to accelerate to a higher heat, and we're going to boil these for a while. These down here all still are just sitting in the sun. I have a little bit of concern with this one. I was going to test them, and I forgot to make sure that they weren't brass, because those that looked like brass, which was this batch and this batch here, I'm not really seeing any foils in yet, and in every other one I'm seeing foils. So I might, those might have just been brass. We'll know soon enough. But I mean, even these, just from sitting on low heat for a few days, you can see the foils that are floating on top of this. And even the ones that were just in the sunlight have foils floating on them. So we're going to go ahead and accelerate this. We're going to start heating them up a little bit more. See if we can't get this process to kick into gear. And like I said, I'm not sure about these because I am not seeing any foils whatsoever in those. So this batch and this batch may very well have just been, you know, brass. But we'll find out in the end. So I just wanted to touch base with you and let you know where we're at. And we'll get back at you. Well, it'll be you in a bit. And like I said, me again, it'll be a day or two. So we'll see you in a bit. Okay guys, we're going to do just a little quick update. It's raining out here today and kind of miserable, so there ain't a whole lot I can do. Actually, I've had these three, this one, and this one, simmering or lightly boiling in AP probably for the last 2.5 days. I just want to show you guys something, because sometimes I get some comments, and granted, I know that sometimes it could be the pins, sometimes what you know, what the pins that people have are going to be different or such as that, but I am using regular 31.45% muriatic acid. I've had several comments saying that, you know, I don't have to leave it sit, that I can boil it and it'll go much faster. Yeah, maybe sometimes, but I want you to see. You see what's still in the bottom of there? Now, yes, granted, there's a lot of foils, but look at how many pins are still left in there. And you can tell because they stay on the bottom when you move it. They move back and forth. So that's after 2 days of boiling. So what I am actually going to do is I'm going to go ahead and filter these foils off. I'm going to filter this solution and rinse it. I'm going to put the solution back in on the pins. And I'm going to add some fresh hydrochloric. So, I mean, like I said, I'm not being mean. I know it may work. Maybe the amount of pins I'm doing is far larger than what some are doing. And that's why it works. This is the non-magnetics. These have been on low heat since I started, and actually have been boiling or simmering for the last 2.5 days with these 2 big beakers. So, and there's still a lot of metal left in there. So like I said, I'm actually going to go ahead and filter these off. I've got my vacuum filter set up, and we'll just continue going till we dissolve all these pins and get all the gold. But I just wanted to show you that I am boiling. In fact, I've got some up here right now that's just starting to simmer. Some more pins, they're just starting. I don't know if you can see the bubbles, but they're starting to simmer, and it's their turn. So I'm going to let them go for a while. And then I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm just going to filter these off. This is what I'm talking about, pins taking a long time. You know, and I mean, like I said, there are other options. I don't like sulfuric acid. There was actually a comment that I may actually try that particular way, but I'm not going to guarantee that, because sulfuric acid is a lot harder. It's a lot harder to deal with, dispose of, neutralize, and everything else. So, like I said, for the most part, I stay away from it, you know, unless I have no choice. And I'm going to have a video, like I said earlier, I don't know if it's out, I don't know which one of these is going to come out first, but I'm going to have to amend some things on pins, because these modern pins just aren't, you know, it looks like there's tons and tons and tons of gold there, but there's really not. So, alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and get set up, start filtering this off, and then I'll show you a foil or something, and we'll put that foil in a jar, or that filter in a jar, and save it, because I do want to see what these pins yielded versus the rest of the material that M sent. And I'm going to quit babbling now and get to work. So I will show you when we are into this a little bit more. I'm not going to set up the tripod today. I'm going to just do some quick handheld shots. But those are actually starting to boil now. So you can see that I do boil them, and it doesn't really seem to make that much of a difference. But anyhow, we'll get back at you in a bit. Okay guys, I just wanted to show you real quick. You can see that there's still a lot of foils in there, but you can still see that that is quite a bit of metal left. There's quite a bit of metal left in there, even though there is some heavier foils. So I'm going to rinse that a couple times. Like I said, we're going through the filtering process. I'm actually going to let the junk settle out of the bottom of this so I don't have to redissolve it. I'm going to use that AP to rinse this a couple more times through that filter, and then we're going to do the same and proceed with this. And then I'm going to add some of this copper 2 back, and we're going to add some fresh HCl, because as you can see, that's pretty black, so it is pretty saturated. Probably not completely used up, but close. And I do want to get this process going. I need to get this stuff cleared out and get moving. So I'm going to let this settle for a little while. Like I said, then I'm going to use it to rinse this without pouring any of that stuff in the bottom back in there. There's no point in adding that back in. And we'll get back at you in a bit. Okay guys, we've got our flasks back on, boiling. I think we did a pretty good bit of work today. This is what we got so far. We still got a lot of pins to dissolve. Some of them I don't think are that great, but hey, we're going to do them anyway. We said we'd do the job, we're going to do the job. This is actually a couple little, just a little leftovers. I try to catch everything. There is some copper in there because of this stuff. But we're gonna, more than likely we'll have to drop this twice. So I did want to just show you where we're at for this day. We're going to continue to let these go until they completely dissolve, and then we'll filter those off. We still have what's down here to go to. These are basically, they've been on the heat a little bit. The 2 coffee pot ones have been on the heat for a little bit. These 2 just for a little while, this one not at all. But I'm really seeing almost, there's a few foils floating in here. There's absolutely no foils floating in here yet. So I'm a little leery about those 2 batches. I don't think they're going to yield that much. But so far everything else is seeming to be pretty average for what I would call modern pins. But so I've already got, I'm a strong week into this, or a little more on this refine right now. So, and we've got a lot more stuff to do. We've got BGA chips to do. We've got some ceramic processors to do. Out there on the junk table is still all of our fingers that we need to get cleaned up. So this one refine is entailing, several different jobs, which I'm going to try and incorporate into this video. So it's probably going to be long, but hey, it's a complete job. All this, people don't just send one type of material. So, alrighty, I just wanted to show you that, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. You'll see me in a second. Okay, guys, it has been a few days since I've been able to get back out here. So, we still have, last time I talked, I told you we put some more acid. We strained these and filtered the foils off, and we put some more fresh acid in them. But we still have quite a bit of metal in there. About half of it went off. Now we're back down to a saturated solution again, and I have added some fresh acid, and I put the heat on, and we're going to let them go. This one still has about half the metal in it. This, I'm not seeing anything, foils or otherwise. Those pins must have been brass, because it has been, I don't know, 2 weeks now or 10 days we've been doing this, and we have absolutely nothing showing from this. We have very little foil showing from this. I just added some fresh acid to it, and our phone jack pins are done. So I'm going to go ahead and get this batch filtered off. So thankfully we do have one part of the project complete. We're probably still a few days away. I'm again going to make this statement. I boiled these and had them boiling for 3 days, and the pins still remain. They were on heat, lighter heat, for about 2.5 or 3 days before that. So I've had a lot of comments saying, you know, that this will do it faster and that'll do it faster. I don't know what kind of pins you're doing. Now these were on the heat only for maybe a day and then sat in the sunlight. These are again the foam pins. They are gone. So yes, very possible that you can boil some pins and have them, you know, literally go away in 4 or 5 hours if you keep them at a boil. Because these I did not boil long at all. In fact, I didn't boil them at all. I just warmed them up and put them in the sun. And they are actually all, just the foils remain. There's no more metal in this. So yes, some pins maybe you're getting lucky, but I'm telling you right now, there's still a third of the pins that I started with in each of these containers. They have been completely filtered off once and fresh acid added to them. They have been boiled for 2 days after that, and they are still metal remaining. So some of these pins that you all are doing, you like I said, maybe you're getting lucky and doing something like these. These didn't even have to be boiled. So it's not quick. There's no quick way. There's no way to know if the pins you have are going to dissolve right away, like those, or if they're going to take several weeks, even on heat. So I'm just letting you know that, because I have seen many comments and where people saying, oh, if you do this or you do that, it'll go faster, it'll go this. Look, that's the whole trick with this refining and this recovery gig. You don't know what's going to do what or when it's going to do it. It's going to do it when it wants to and when it's ready, not when you want it to be ready. Believe me, over the years that I've been doing this, that is one thing that I have learned. If you expect something to work the same way every time, you're in for a real surprise. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get this stuff filtered off. I just wanted to touch base with everybody and explain that pin thing, that, you know, no, not all pins are going to dissolve in AP even on a boil. So guys, I'm going to do this and we'll get back at you the next time I get back at you. I don't even know when yet. Like I said, I figured this was going to be a long drawn out process for me. It's going to be pretty much a normal video for you, but we'll see. And I apologize for not getting many videos out, but when you're tied up doing this stuff and still got to live, you know, it can get a little hard to do sometimes. So we'll see y'all in a bit. Okay guys, we got that one filtered off, and as you can see, that was from our phone connectors. I've already got them rinsed, so that's just clean water in there. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go ahead, this is the ones that aren't showing a whole lot of foils. I'm going to go ahead and filter this off and get the foils out of there that are in there, being that we've got plenty of room in that filter. Once again, those are the ones that aren't doing squat, so I think they're just brass. But I'm going to go ahead and clean these off and get some fresh acid in here and actually move those into that coffee pot over here that we just filtered off, because it has a bigger bottom and it will expose more metal. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we'll be back at you in a bit. Okay guys, we're just going to step in here for a second. I finished, you know, the what was supposed to be mostly ram fingers and stuff. I finally finished that. It took me several hours to get these cleaned up. That's the ram fingers and a few of the extra boards that I did, and that pile over there, which is about half or more of what I thought was ram fingers, is actually, because I was in a hurry and didn't pay attention. You see how these are, how nice and neat these are cut? Those are all LCDs. Those are off the back of LCD screens and LCD TVs. Basically, they are, it took me just as long to clean this up as it would take me to clean up the RAM, except for it's got maybe 1/20th the gold on it, and it looks like there's still gold on that. Let me see if I can get it out here where you can see it, but there's not. That's what it looks like underneath. So I'm a little upset with myself that I did not look at this material closer and do a better job at separating out what actually ended up being a waste of time for me, because the RAM chips, the foils are going to they get stuck to everything. Okay, even when they're loose, they get stuck. You got to keep rinsing and spraying them off and wiping them off and whatever such as that to end up with your clean foils. Well, you know, I had to do that with all that crap back there because the foils stick to those just like they stick to those. So I had to wash all that stuff basically just because it was in there. Now, had I paid more attention when I started, I would have separated those out and I would not have processed them with the Ram, just for the simple fact that it took me 2 hours longer to do than it should have. So I'm going to go ahead and get this filtered off, get our this stuff. I'm going to keep it separate from the pins. I want to see what we ended up with out of this, because I think there was about a half a kilo of this stuff, but I don't expect there to be a lot, simply because I thought that all back there was Ram, and it isn't. So, alrighty, I'm going to finish this up, and then I got to go sit down in my chair, guys. My back is killing me. So, give you a shot on those up there. Same thing, still a lot of metal in the bottom. They've been boiling all day. So, I will get back at you guys later. Okay, everybody, we have pretty much been out here all day long. I think I got out here about 11 o'clock this morning. It's a little after 9 tonight. I've been working on this refine, this job refine. This is the AR from the foils, from what was supposed to be the Ram fingers, you know, and the boards that ended up being about 50% of those LCD boards, which is my own fault. I should have paid more attention to what I was doing, but you know, once you got them all mixed together, you got to process them the same way, so it takes forever. But anyway, we've got that in AR. I heated it up. I'm dissolving the gold, the filters from it. Took a couple of filters to clean it out. We're going to go ahead and let that go overnight. Just turn that burner off. Our pins boiled all day long. Okay, there is still base metal down in there. Now, I know I've had several people say that, you know, you can boil them in AR and it'll do whatever it does. Yes, it does work for some pins, but it does not work for all pins. These pins have been boiling on and off for 10 days. And I'm talking boiling. I'm not talking about, you know, just a warmer or something like that. I'm talking about a rolling boil, and we still have base metal. So yes, I did earlier today, you saw me where I cleaned out, you know, one of the pots that had just been sitting in the sun, and there was no base metal left. So it just depends on the pin. But this is why I am no longer going to accept pins. This has taken up too much resources, too much time, too much acid. I'm 4 gallons into this right now of HCl, 31.45%. It's no. And I know, you know, I've said it many times that you don't get paid for your time, but I am the refiner, not the recoverer. So I'm just going to have to go like with what I said, where I will refine your foils, but I am not going to recover the pin foils anymore. In other words, you know, yeah, there's a lot of foils in there, and it looks like, oh my God, there's $1 million worth of gold, but there's not. Anyhow, guys, it's pitch black out here now. You can see I've been out here for 11 hours today. I'm tired. I'm going to run in. Tomorrow I will filter that off and drop the gold out of that. That's from the boards, fingers, and the LCD fingers, which are not true fingers. And like I said, other than the fact that I've been so busy and I've been in a hurry, if I'd have paid closer attention to what I was doing, I would have never done those together, because you have to process them. Once all that stuff is mixed up, you know, you got to process it the same way. You got to rinse it and clean it the same way. And it just took a long time, and it's not going to really be worth it when the gold comes out. But anyhow, guys, I was going to try and make one video out of this, but there's no way. There's just too many aspects to this refine. So I'm going to call this part 1. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. And I guess we'll see y'all in the next video, but it's going to have to do with this refine, because we still have at least 2 more things to do. We still have the processors to do, and we still have the BGA chips to do. So we will see you all in the next video.